We've got a new project.
See how fast it goes. What's the max speed? Is that it? Is that max speed? Oh, decent two-stroke power.
I don't know. It's got a horn. Try and get on two wheels.
Go on then.
Guys, welcome back to another episode in the NSR250 rebuild. As you will notice, in this episode we have got microphones. So hopefully the audio might be a little bit better. Although my dad is making a load of noise over there, rebuilding this little 50 at a minute. So apologies if you hear that in the background. Basically, I want to start with apologising for the lack of videos. As you can see, we'll get onto this in a minute. The NSR is still looking very sorry for itself. We're still waiting for like the paint and the. We're still waiting for like the paint and the wheels. Paint of the wheels, the subframes, and all the other little bits and bobs that I've had painted basically. So we're still waiting for that sort of stuff to come back. Also, what I will show you actually, we could have a quick look around the. Should we have a little quick look around the workshop? It's a bit messy, so there's a compressor over there. There's the NSR. Much to my dad's annoyance, sat on the stands there. There's my old man. Oi oi.
What?
There's a little speed hack. If anyone wants to buy this, actually, wants a little 50, two-stroke, 4,000 kilometres on this little bad boy. New tyres. That's my bench. Got a tracer on there in a minute, in for a blipper and a service and MOT. My Lambretta, look. That's an original 1969. Oh, no. 1969 original paint LI125 special. And that's my brother's, I don't know what you call them, it's like a wide frame Vespa. It's a Spanish one, that's original paint, 1955. So a bit older. If you like that sort of thing, we can have a bit more of a episode on scooters, because we've got a few in the few in at the minute. Not that we do scooters in here as a rule, but we got them ourselves, so we don't mind scooters. I've had these rough polished and they look good, but I was going to just rebuild the forks, so that was going to be the next episode of me rebuilding the forks with the new stanchions and these fork bottoms refinished. But I'm a little bit of a, I don't know what you call it, a bit of a worrier, a bit of a, want things to be perfect, if you know what I mean. And if you just see in here, look, there's still like a bit of dirt, and I've actually clear lacquered these myself. They look good, but I think I should have had them vapor blasted before I had them rough polished. So I think what we're going to end up doing is, because it's just doing my nutting, like things like that, look, see that little bit of like dirt there? I'm going to get them vapor blasted, re-rough polished, and I'm going to get someone else to lacquer them, because I think also my lacquering skills are a little bit sort of cloudy. So yeah, this episode's really just an apology on not getting a video out. I mean, if you like watching me waffle on about motorbikes, I do appreciate you all tuning in. And this is the state of it. So basically, it looks a lot worse than what it is. It's just because the subframes and the fairing brackets and stuff are off it. We're actually getting the stuff Cerakoted. So we're getting the subframes, the wheels, some of the fairing brackets, top yoke. I've cleaned that and re-greased it, all the bearings, and cleaned that all up, so that's good. Obviously, once the paintwork comes back, I will do a video on me putting it back to a rolling chassis. So I'm just going to drop a clip in now or a few clips of me taking the wheels out, taking the tyres off, and taking the forks apart. So I'm just going to quickly take you through taking the fork leg apart. It's not going to be a very detailed explanation, but this is how I do a conventional fork. Start by taking a bolt out the bottom of the fork with an impact. I drain and pump most of the fluid out. I then remove the dust seal carefully, and under the dust seal you'll find a spring like retainer clip. So you pop the dust seal out and then carefully remove this spring retainer clip. I use like a really thin either flat blade screwdriver or a pick. Just be very careful you don't damage any area of the fork stanchion. Yeah, and then because you've removed the bottom bolt, you can sort of pump the bottom of the leg and it will pull the dust seal out of the fork bottom and give you your top sort of like working part of the fork complete, and the bottom stanchion with nothing in it other than a washer, and I think there's like a capped washer that sits in inside of this fork that goes on the bottom of the damper rod. So I'm just taking the fork seal off. When you're taking these apart, I would lay it all out as it comes off. So like under the fork seal there's a washer, and then there's a couple of bushes that sit on the fork leg. So if you remove them too and give everything basically a good clean. These can be a bit tricky, as you can see, to get off. You just got to sort of open them up slightly and they slide off. Next, I'm undoing the top nut. I would recommend when taking the fork legs out of the bike, you loosen the top yoke nut off and actually loosen that top nut off in case it's too tight. It's much easier doing the bike with the fork being held by the bike, if you know what I mean. And that's it, basically. That's the damper and spring assembly. When we get to putting these forks back together, I'll give you a bit more of a detailed and close-up camera view of putting these forks back together, putting the seals back in, and putting the oil back in them, getting them ready to go. I also have been chatting to the guys at Jap4 Performance about getting some rear sets because I've been unable so far to find a used right-hand footrest bracket hanger. So I will keep the standard ones as well because I want to keep the bike as original as possible. But I think it'll look nice with some rear sets on there. I also might treat it to a race exhaust at some stage if I can find like a decent sort of expansion chamber exhaust. I've also been inquiring about getting the NSR actually dry ice cleaned. So in the next video or the next, I think there should only be like 2 or 3 videos until this is back on the road. Hopefully, I'm not going to try and drag it out too much. So once it's all back from paint and we can get it back to a rolling chassis, I'm potentially going to drop the bike down and get it all dry ice clean. So all this sort of stuff in here, you see all like this grubby stuff, and like the frame's actually in quite nice condition, but it's just like staining. More, I'd say like more like sort of almost like mouldy staining to like some of this alley and all this under tray. It's all dirty, and the good thing with the dry ice cleaning is it doesn't damage anything. So they can clean all the engine, like top of the cylinders and things, and it won't damage the loom and like covers like that, the exhaust and stuff. That should come up really nice. So there might be a whole episode on me dropping this down to the guys to get dry ice cleaned. So we'll shout them guys out once we get down there, and hopefully we can do an episode on getting it all cleaned up, and then we'll get it back together and hopefully get out on some sunny rides. Right, guys, so thanks for watching this episode. Like I said, the NSR will be finished in the next couple of, I think we'll probably aim for 2, maybe 3 episodes. So we're going to have it put back together, get dry ice cleaned, and then the fairing and all that going back on it, and well, riding it basically. We have got a few more projects coming up. or project ideas, I will touch upon that in the next episode. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, go back and watch some of the other videos where I'm actually doing stuff to this bike. And I'll see you on the next one. See you in a bit. 0.5. So right guys, that's oh fuck's sake.